Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday. It is a new week. We got some big FIFA World Cup matches. I am very excited. It has been a really awesome World Cup so far. We've seen some tough battles. We've seen some back and forth. We've seen some late goals. We've had it all already, and heck, we're not even close to the knockout round yet. Remember, there's one more round than there's been in previous FIFA World Cups, so we are going to be filled with lots of action. This is exactly what FIFA wanted to see. And today, we bring our recap, we bring our props, and we are ready for another day of 4 matches. But let's get to yesterday. 3 for 4. Germany was an easy one. They blew through 7-1, just like we all expected. We had a draw on the Netherlands and Japan. Japan was able to fight hard, stay in it, and get that draw late. And that's what they've done. They've been able to really get some big goals late in games in World Cups. Now, obviously, they conceded one to Belgium. They had a lead and they blew it back in 2018. But heck, they stay in games. They can always show magic, that Japanese team. Ivory Coast and Ecuador, that was a draw for much of the match, 0-0, before Ivory Coast got it in the 90th minute. That was a really close one. I mean, heck, we almost went 4 for 4, but wasn't going to happen today. Ivory Coast took the win over Ecuador, and Sweden with a resounding win against Tunisia. We look at the matches right here. Germany with a 7-1 win. That's just everything we expected. They dominated the shots on goal. They had it all going in this matchup. What a match for Germany. Good start for them. We'll have to see them against the better teams, but they are moving, and they are strong all throughout the pitch to start off against Curacao. Curacao put up a good effort. Those defenders really had their hands full, but even their attackers, the goal scorers as well, they definitely had some chances, a couple chances. Well, one was the goal, but even one later in the game, they were able to do something. They really showed against a much superior team, a 4-time world champion, a really wholehearted effort. Let's see that from Curacao. Netherlands, they had a lead. They had control of the thing. They had more possession. They had control of the match, but that's the thing with Japan, though. Japan can pick out their moments, and they can give you something big. Even though they were 40% possession, 3 shots on goal, in the end of the day, they scored 2 of those 3 shots. Japan was just able to find their moments, but the Netherlands, you look at their ratings all across the park, and you look at their lineups, you can see that when the substitutes came on, they make a big impact. And you were able to see that watching the game. I did see pretty much the whole second half of that one. Very, very exciting. And with Japan, you can see right there, defense was a bit overwhelmed. They did have just 3 guys back there. They had a couple wing backs. But, Ritsudon, you can see on the right-hand side, more of a midfielder. But you can also see 3 strikers. But overall, if I'm the Japanese coach, I would definitely have at least 4 defenders and 2 midfielders, and have it to where you have some attacking midfielders. But let's see how Japan does. But they overall showed a great effort, but tactically I didn't think they were as sound as they could have been. Ivory Coast versus Ecuador, that was a great match too. Ecuador didn't really have good shots, and honestly, this is what I expected. I mean, start with Ivory Coast here. I didn't expect really either team having much quality in attack, and I believe it showed. You can see not great shots on goal. Ivory Coast missed a lot of shots, as did Ecuador. But in the end of the day, it was much of the midfield battle that I thought it was going to be. But in the end of the day, Ivory Coast from Ahmed Diallo got the big goal in the 90th minute. That was a great goal by Ahmed Diallo. And you look at Ecuador again. Ecuador did not exactly have all the best chances. You can see, again, 1 shot on goal, even though they had most of the possession. I mean, it was pretty even in possession. But overall, I still thought a solid match for Ecuador in terms of, how disciplined they played on defense. But overall, let's see how they do in the next one. Sweden, everything we thought they would be. They did not dominate possession. It was pretty even in possession, but they were very direct. They are a very direct team. This is a team that has quality in attack, and I think that showed. Bokera Jokeres got on the board for Sweden. Isak got on the board. So those are two guys we really expect to carry Sweden throughout this World Cup. They played a great match in this one. But overall, Sweden they had it from the start. They had that 7th-minute goal. They never looked back. They were the better team from start to finish in this one. And you can see the recap of Tunisia. Defense had their hands full. They did everything they could. But the direct style of Sweden, the passes they were making, the spaces they were getting into was just too much for this Tunisia team. And I do think their holding midfielders overall do need to do a better job defensively. That being said, we got 4 matchups today. Let's go through it. We're going to be in Atlanta for Spain versus Cabo Verde. That, if you do not know where Cabo Verde is, those are islands in West Africa. 3 p.m., we got Belgium versus Egypt. That will be on the West Coast in Seattle. This is bound to be a solid match. Then we got Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. I think this is the best matchup of the day. I really think that both of these teams are very underrated. I think both of these teams can get a lot done. Then, last but not least, at 9 o'clock Eastern in Los Angeles, we got Iran versus New Zealand. That is probably the most unpredictable match of the 4 that I feel can go any kind of way. But let's get to it. These are our picks today. These are single picks right here. If you get all 4 of these singles right and you put $10 on each of them, you would turn that into $105. Spain beating Cabo Verde isn't necessarily the biggest pick of the day. That's where you're going to get $10.70 for $10. Then Belgium is our projected winner against Egypt. That's where you would get $15.40 for a $10 wager. Then I am picking a draw for the Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. A draw there would be almost 4 times the money. I will go through that. And then Iran versus New Zealand, I'm also picking to end in a draw. With that being said, let's get to it. Let's start off with Spain. So same thing as yesterday, just going through their journey and how they got there. They dominated their group just like they always do. They always quite easily make it to the World Cup, and they were able to win 5 of their 6 matches with a draw. Turkey ended up making it too. They played yesterday, or 2 days ago, excuse me. You look at some of their big players. Lamine Yamal is expected to be limited today. He has had a hamstring injury. Expect him to start in the 3rd match. But Rodri and Pedri, Ferran Torres, some of these Barcelona guys, Man City. Barcelona has been developing some really, really good players. They are expected to really show up in this. Fabian Ruiz in midfield. He's been a huge part of Paris Saint-Germain's success alongside those Portuguese guys. It would be really interesting to see Spain versus Portugal. Fabian Ruiz and Vitinha and João Neves all there together. But anyways, that is that. We go to Cabo Verde, or Cape Verde as you say it in English. Cabo Verde was able to win their group over Cameroon. This is actually quite impressive. They've been developing some pretty good talent. Some of these guys were born in France. Actually, they got quite a bit of players that were born in France, but obviously aren't going to have a huge chance with the French team. So if you got a citizenship with a small island, why not try out for them? I mean, very simple. France has deep squads. Really good players miss out for France. Cameroon just fell short. They didn't end up making the World Cup. But you look at Cabo Verde, again, a lot of these players were born in France. Some of these players were even raised in France and have ties or descendants of Cabo Verde, enough to have a citizenship. You can see a lot of their qualities in goalkeeping and defense. That's a key part of where their leadership is going to be. And that's honestly what we want to see from a lot of good teams. Now, biggest thing to question is the quality in attack. We got to see who's going to show up and who may not. And this is going to be very interesting to see. How are they going to play? Are they going to be defensive? Are they going to try to pass the ball around? Are they going to try to make direct passes and make the other team run for it? Let's see how they go against Spain, but expect Spain to win this one easily. Just obviously world-class quality. They are the European champions. Expect them to pick up where they left off. We go to Belgium. Belgium is playing onside Egypt. Belgium also won their group. This is what we call the golden generation. And I'm going to go through that in the next slide. Romelu Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, alongside, they used to have Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard's kind of fallen off the cliff, and now he's retired from soccer, but he's considered a huge part of that golden generation. But you have Romelu Lukaku and even Yuri Tielemans on the backside of that golden generation. He plays for Aston Villa. They were the Europa League champions. They had a really great season overall. But you can see Thibaut Courtois. Thibaut Courtois has been a tremendous goalkeeper. He is easily considered the best goalkeeper in the world. He can really change a game. Kevin De Bruyne, definitely over the hill, but still a really good player. He played for Napoli. After 10 years in Manchester City, he's expected to have a huge role in this matchup right here. And you can see some of these newer guys that are really not so tested in this World Cup. It will be interesting to see how they come on and do for Belgium. Then we got Egypt right here. Egypt won their group. They blew it away. Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone with a good effort, but it was all Egypt in their group. Their headliner, we know who that is, Mohamed Salah. He has been a huge part of Liverpool's recent success in the last 10 years. He is a huge, huge player. And I'm trying to say this name right, Omar Mamoura from Manchester City. They got some guys also in the Saudi Arabian League. This is overall a team that has developed some pretty good talent. But Mohamed Salah is their big player. He's their big target man. But against a team like Belgium, let's see how their defenders do. Are they going to put two on Mohamed Salah and make other people beat them? And if they do, can other people beat them? Now, Egypt, I think they're a great team. I think they'll move on to the round of 32. But against Belgium, in this first match where Belgium really has to set the tone, the quality that they have in Belgium with Lukaku and De Bruyne still in the squad, and with a goalkeeper like Courtois, Belgium's going to do enough to win this matchup. We get on to Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. So they went through 4 rounds in Asia, the Asia qualifying. They missed qualifying through the 3rd round, so they went to the 4th round. So you can see Indonesia, Saudi Arabia. There were 3 other groups right there. Other groups that had teams that qualified, including teams like Uzbekistan. You can see Australia, Japan got through in this one. South Korea got through in another group alongside, this is Saudi Arabia right here, and even Jordan. But you can see that in the next round, Saudi Arabia was able to win and draw one of their matches alongside Iraq, who made it through the Intercontinental playoffs. But you look at the quality on the Saudi Arabian squad, if you do not know, last World Cup in the opening match, Saudi Arabia pulled off one of the biggest World Cup upsets. They beat Argentina and snapped what was a 36-match unbeaten streak that they had before that. Now, Argentina obviously ended up winning the World Cup, but it was still a huge win for Saudi Arabia. A lot of their players play for their own league because their own league is getting filled with stars, guys like Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema, among others like N'Golo Kante. So a lot of their players play inside their own league. Their own league is definitely developing into a very solid league, and overall some very solid quality. So you can see qualities throughout the pitch. You can see some of the positions, attacking midfield, defense, forward, some of their key players that we're going to see today with still excellent quality in defense. Saudi Arabia is definitely developing some really good soccer. They are the hosts of the 2034 World Cup. We go to Uruguay, just like we talked about yesterday. They were one of the clump of South American teams to play really well in the qualifying and make it. South American qualifying is definitely something to write home about. But you look at the Uruguayan team, Fede Valverde, he had an up and down season at Real Madrid. Some Brazilian league guys. Also, Jose Maria Jimenez has played for Atleti the last 10 years. He's been a big leader for them. That will be a great one to see. So they got some very solid quality in Uruguay. They're a great team. But I think the way both of these teams play, 2 very disciplined teams are going to fight head to head. I think Saudi Arabia definitely showed that they can have composure in big matches. I think this is going to end up in a draw quite easily for both of these teams. Last but not least, Iran and New Zealand. We got Iran, who won their group. They had a great qualifying campaign right over Uzbekistan, so they didn't have to go to that same 4th round that Saudi Arabia went to. You can see UAE and Qatar went to the 4th round, and Qatar was able to make it out of that 4th round, obviously like Saudi Arabia did. And you can see that Iran just overall, this is their 3rd consecutive World Cup. They're building some great soccer out there. And they got some quality throughout, some Greek league players, some Dutch leagues, some Saudi Arabian league. But overall, I think this is also a very well-balanced team. I think that Iran, with their World Cup experience, is going to play very well. I think that they're going to advance to the round of 32. And you look at New Zealand, this is obviously Oceania, where only one team advances automatically, and New Zealand just happened to be that team. So they got to the third round. You can see the bracket right there. They had 4 teams, so they had 2 groups of 4 teams. Top 2 in each group went to this last third and final round, where they were able to, New Zealand 7-0 over Fiji, 3-0 over New Caledonia. New Caledonia was not able to beat Jamaica in the World Cup playoff matches. But you can see New Zealand overall, not the same level of quality that you would expect to see. They do have a very solid player from Nottingham Forest. They've developed great athletes throughout their other sports, but in soccer, they're all right. But I still think that they're going to hold up in terms of discipline. They're going to hold up in terms of how they play together. I think they're a team that can play smart, they can control the match, and they do have some solid World Cup experience. They got quite a bit of players from 2018 when they last made it. You can see some of the ages. Some guys have been playing there for quite a while. I do think New Zealand, as much as we can say about the talent and experience of Iran, I think New Zealand can match it. I expect this matchup to end in a draw. I also do question the relative quality and attack from both teams as well. But let's see how it goes. Again, this is a really unpredictable match. It can go either way. But that is a wrap for today. Thank you for watching. It has been a pleasure. Let's get back at it tomorrow with some more World Cup action. That will round up the first round of the group stage. And then we got the second round, the second match of the group stage. Let's get it. Let's launch with purpose.